हरि ओम हरि ओम
हरि ओम।
औरों को देते वरदान,
औरों को देते वरदान।
देवों के हित विष पीलाए,
देवों के हित विष पिलाए।
नीलकंठ को कोटि प्रणाम,
नीलकंठ को कोटि प्रणाम।
देवों के हित विष पीलाए,
देवों के हित विष पिलाए।
नीलकंठ को कोटि प्रणाम,
नीलकंठ को कोटि प्रणाम।
नीलकंठ को कोटि प्रणाम।
नीलकंठ को कोटि प्रणाम।
सुबह सुबह ले शिव का नाम,
सुबह सवेरे शिव का नाम।
शिव आएंगे तेरे काम,
शिव आएंगे तेरे काम।
सुबह सुबह ले शिव का नाम,
सुबह सुबह ले शिव का नाम।
कर ले बंदे कोई शुभ काम,
कर ले बंदे कोई शुभ काम।
ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय,
ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम नमः शिवाय।
ओम नमः शिवाय, ओम नमः शिवाय,
ओम नमः शिवाय। ओम नमः शिवाय।
Sruvanti devesvaye Vede samvakadatramo Parishare Alayantiyam samava Dhyanavasthitadgadena manasa Pashyandriyam yoginah Yasyam brahmanayussurasvara Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Humble prostrations when I are present here. Our topic of discussion is stress to serenity. What are the different ways of handling stress? There are varieties of ways. Inferior ways and superior ways. One way is the technique of suppression. What is technique of suppression? The stress is basically due to some negative thought. Suppress that negative thought. Then what will happen? Mind is forced to become quiet, and such a quiet mind is a peaceful mind. This is one technique. How can we suppress the mind? Various techniques are there. Drugs, drinks, smoking, all those kind of things. When you take drinks, mind becomes quiet. Mind becomes helplessly quiet. Mind becomes forcefully quiet. And how do you experience a quiet mind? And stress. This is the easiest technique. You don't have to do anything. You just have to drink. The rest, the drink will. And because the mind becomes quiet, people get addicted to it. Because peace is something which is loved by everyone. We don't want stress. And you take some drinks and the mind becomes peaceful. It's an easy way, effortless way, so people get addicted to it. But remember, it's an inferior way also. What is the problem with drinks? The problem is, it is not good for our health. What gets affected? Liver. That's what it is. It is not good for our health. Number two, it is addictive in nature. Once a person takes a regularly, that person gets addicted to it. This is the problem with such techniques of stresslessness. The second technique is the technique of distraction. When there is stress, you distract the mind from that stressful situation. And when the mind is distracted, taken away from that stressful situation, you find some relief. For example, go for a movie. The mind is away from that stressful thinking. You find some relief. Go out with your friends, have some chit chat, eat out, go for a picnic, go for some outing. This is another way of getting rid of stress. But what is the problem with this kind of technique? This is called as technique of distraction. Distract the mind from the problem, and that mind for some time finds some relief. Good, but what is the problem? The problem is the real problem remains unsolved. That which is causing stress, it is still there. You have not solved the problem. It is like closing your eyes and saying that the problem is not because I am not seeing it. I think there is a bird which does that in the desert. So whenever it is attacked by some fox or some wild animal, it just buries its head inside the sand and then it believes that yes, now the problem is solved. By closing the eyes, you don't solve the problem. That is a problem with the technique of distraction. For some time you may get a relief, but still the problem is staring at you. In fact, the technique of distraction takes away some of your time also to solve the problem. Dangerous. So this is the second technique which generally people adopt. The technique of suppression and the technique of distraction. Now there is a third technique. What is the technique? This generally we adopt in our spiritual sadhana. This is called the technique of deep breathing. Deep breathing. So what do we do? We take a deep breath and slowly release that breath. And then pay attention to that breath. Few rounds you do, the mind becomes quiet. It's a very, very effective technique. When you are tired, when you are exhausted, when you are stressed, worried, tense, don't know what to do. Take a deep breath and slowly release it. And let the mind pay attention to that breath. Withdraw the mind from all unwanted thinking, stressful thinking. Withdraw the mind from all worries. And then just pay attention to the breath. The deeper the breath, the better. The longer the breath, the better. The slower the breath, the better. Generally we do this. So this is also called as a technique of pranayama. Pranayama, controlling the breath. So when you do that, lift your shoulders so that you will get greater time span. This is the way it has to be. Should we do it? Should we do it for 5 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, then sit straight. Shall we chant Om?
Yes.
Take a deep breath. release the breath, press your abdomen and release the breath. And as we are releasing the breath, as we are chanting Om, pay attention to the sound or pay attention to the breath. 3 rounds will do. Softly open your eyes. So this can be done for 5 to 10 minutes. So take a deep breath and slowly release it. It can be released in silence also. So when it is done, the attention is upon the breath. So regularly when you do, you will find that this length, the duration also increases. It slowly starts increasing. That means your lungs is expanding. And this is very much useful in 2 things. Number 1, pranayama improves your health. Physical health. Also, pranayama makes your mind easy. So there are 2-fold benefits. Spend a little time, but it is very useful. You see, how many days can you live without food? So many days. How many days you can live without water? Lesser number of days, but definitely more than 1 day. How many days you can live without air? How many days? Question is wrong. You should ask how many minutes, or rather how many seconds, isn't it? So which is most important? Food, water or air? Breathing is the most important thing. If we don't breathe, hardly 1 minute we are going to survive. So therefore, that which is directly connected to health is breathing. Very important. That is how the whole science of pranayama is developed. According to Hindu scriptures, true health has nothing to do with your biceps and triceps, your muscles, your 6 packs. Health has something to do with your physiological function. How efficiently all the functions are happening in the body. So what are the functions in the body? Prana, apana, vyayana, udana, sama. They are called as pancha pranas. They are in charge of certain physiological functions of the body. So one by one that is. So when we eat food, the food reaches the stomach. What happens to the food? The food is converted into energy. Food is digested. What is digestion? Conversion of food into energy is not digestion. Which vayu does it? Samana vayu does it. Samana vayu. Digestive function. Digestive system. So it is done by a prana. That faculty which does this digestion is called samana vayu. You will always find that when you do this breathing exercise, your digestion becomes very fast. Digestion and breathing, they are directly connected. Digestion becomes efficient when you do pranayama. Okay, this is called samana. Once energy is produced from food, this energy has to be circulated throughout the body. This is done by dhyana. Dhyana means circulation. So digestive system. Next is circulatory system. This energy is circulated throughout the body through the blood. Blood is the one which goes out. So the energy is put into this blood and gets circulated. So this is done by dhyana. Samana vayu, dhyana vayu. And now, when the food is digested, it produces waste. This waste has to be thrown out. It is done by the excretory system, or what is called as apana vayu. It is called as apana vayu, excretion. With the throat. And now, when the blood goes around, it becomes impure. So, this impurity in the blood has to be respiratory system. So, the breathing that we do. So, taking in oxygen, throwing out carbon dioxide. This is how purification of blood happens. 4 vayus are. Now, there is one more vayu called udana vayu. Udana vayu means reverse system. It functions only when emergency situation. It is like all those firefighters, etc. It is not always. Whenever there is emergency, it comes. For example, dust enters into the eyes. At that time, the eyes have to be flushed with tears. This is done by udana. You eat something, it has to be vomited out. Then the udana vayu becomes act. At the time of death, the sukshma sharira has to leave the body. Udana vayu becomes act. So only in emergency situation, this particular vayu becomes act. It is called as udana vayu, reverse system. So what are the 5 vayus? Prana, apana, dhyana, udana and samana. So these vayus, these 5, what you call pranas, are the ones who are taking care of our physical body. The whole physiological function is taken care by this. So if you have to have a healthy body, all the functions should be efficient. Digestion should be efficient, blood circulation should be efficient, all functions should be efficient. And how to make these functions efficient? By energizing these pranas. These pancha pranas should be given energy. It knows what to do. For example, there is a blood clot. What do you call that? That where the blood passes, there's a block. Prana knows how to open it. But what it needs is Shakti, power. So when we do pranayama, we are empowering these pancha pranas to become strong. So whatever defects are there, it knows the solution, it only needs the power to solve the problem. So when we do pranayama, what happens is all this physiological function becomes very efficient. That is why people who do pranayama, they live longer and healthier. There are yogis who have lived up to 350, 400 years. 400 years in the physical body. In fact, in our scripture, there is one person who lived up to 1400 years also. All these are possible just by doing pranayama. In YouTube, there is one person, I think Devakara Baba or something, 350 years. Nobody knows when he was born. Everybody says, my grandfather also used to do it. And the interviews held with that person. He said, I do only pranayama. That's how I am able to live like this. So it's a fact. Anyway, we don't want to live such a long time. The purpose of discussing this is only one. For good health, pranayama is absolutely essential. Prana is very, very important because just 1 minute not breathing can take away our life. So just imagine how much important this one thing is. We give too much of importance to food, but there is something else which is very, very important and we don't pay any attention. You don't have to learn so many complicated ways of doing pranayama. Simple deep breathing is more than sufficient. Daily when you do, slowly the lung capacity increases. And you can really make it long, one cycle. Breathing in, breathing out. It's one cycle. That cycle, you will find that it goes on increasing with practice. But the greatest benefit of this pranayama is the mind becomes helplessly quiet. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi in his text Suppression says, Vayurodhana niyate mana jala pakshiva rodha sadhanam. Vayurodhana manapaliyate. With this control over your breathing, regulating your breathing, manapaliyate, mind slows down. This is the technique. We can see that the mind becomes slow. And the reverse is also true. When the mind becomes agitated, the breathing also becomes fast and shallow. So, mind and breathing, there is a deep connection. Ramana Maharshi says, so if the mind is behaving in a very wild way, you are not able to control the mind. There are certain times when it is very difficult to control the mind. Mind behaves in a very turbulent way, uncontrolled way, wild way. At that time, this technique becomes very, very useful. Ramana Maharshi says, Jala pakshivat rodha sadhanam. Just like how a bird is caught up in the net. The bird, the natural tendency of the bird is to fly away. But when it is caught up in the net, it is helpless. It cannot fly. In the same way, when you do this pranayama, the mind becomes helplessly quiet. Mind becomes helplessly quiet. This is one of the easier way of quieting the mind, because no thinking is necessary. No right thinking is necessary here. Helplessly mind is quiet. So this is the technique used by the spiritual seekers in conquering the mind in the initial stages. You are coming from your workplace, from the world, mind is very much agitated because of so many reasons. In the beginning itself, don't try out your advanced meditation techniques. Don't do that, it will not work. In the beginning, first step is just sit quietly. Just sit quietly, that itself is, that's the first step. Then, slowly withdraw the mind from the world, start paying attention to the breath. So these are all the stages. Initially start with the grosser steps, then go to the advanced subtler steps. In handling stress also you have to do this. Sit quietly in a place, close your eyes, sit for a few minutes, then slowly draw the mind. Then take few deep breaths. Deep breathing. As you are breathing, pay attention to your breath. Withdraw the mind from the world. It will take around 10 to 15 minutes for the mind to settle down. And then you will find that the stress is very much reduced. The mind has attained tremendous amount of peace. And it is only when the mind is peaceful, we are refreshed and recharged. Otherwise, we are very tired. When the mind is disturbed, we are at our worst. When the mind is peaceful, we are at our best. So all these techniques we must learn. Right. So this is the way you have to quiet your mind. Deep breath, mind becomes quiet. So this is called the technique of deep breathing. It is far better than the technique of suppression and the technique of distraction. Once the mind has become relatively quiet, you should go to the next step. What is the next step? The technique of substitution. So that's what we were discussing yesterday. What's the technique of substitution? What's the technique of substitution? I did not use this term, that's all. Start paying attention to the thoughts. Because now the mind has become relatively quiet. Once the mind has become relatively quiet, start paying attention to the contents of the mind. How do we do that? By withdrawing the attention from the world and paying attention to the thoughts. So in this technique, what do we do? Observe, detect, eliminate, substitute, and then strengthen. Observe the mind. Detect the negative thoughts in the mind. Eliminate those negative thoughts by replacing it with positive thoughts and then strengthen those positive thoughts. This is called as technique of substitution. Because what is the law? The law is whenever there is a negative thought, mind is disturbed. This is the law. So if disturbance is caused by the negative thought, we should eliminate them by replacing it with positive thought. So this is called as technique of substitution. So yesterday we were discussing it. So purpose of meditation, one among the very many purpose of meditation is to see the contents of the mind. As we regularly meditate, make this a habit to observe our mind. We are able to observe the mind at a deeper and deeper level. More and more clarity comes. More and more clarity comes. In the beginning, we are not even aware what kind of thoughts are passing through the mind. Slowly, slowly it becomes clear. We are able to detect these thoughts. We are able to detect these negative thoughts. So, what is the law? Yesterday we discussed. Earlier the detection, easier the correction. Correcting a negative thought becomes easy when it is at the very initial stage. At a very initial stage, we are able to detect it only when we practice meditation regularly. See, it's an ability to look within, and that ability can be developed. What is our present condition? We have developed this ability to look out. We are masters working out the extroverted. In the same way, we have to learn to look within. Because there is something happening inside which is deciding everything about us. Our thoughts decide everything about us. Our thoughts determine our words, our actions, our reactions, our responses, our desires, our hopes, our aspirations. Everything is thought-based. How we deal with the world, how we deal with things, beings and situations of the world, everything starts from thoughts. So therefore it is very, very essential, very, very important to handle these thoughts, to have control over these thoughts. And this is the main purpose of meditation. A person who regularly meditates, such a person has a lot of choice. Choice to choose the thoughts. Somebody abuses you, use some harsh words. Any person who is a non-meditative person, the tendency is to react. He shouted at me, I also shouted at him. I gave him back properly. You see, this is our natural tendency. That is what is reactive. Thoughtless handling the situation is called reacting to the situation. But a person who is a regular meditator, such a person, when such a situation comes, he has a lot of time to think. This person has spoken this way. In which way should I handle this person? This person belongs to this category, so therefore I have so many options. One option is I can remain silent. Another option is I can speak sweetly back. Another option is I can shout at him consciously. Consciously, or what you call showing anger, not getting angry. Showing anger, in which way should I handle this person? You see, a person who regularly meditates has this choice. Because everything is under his control. Because emotions are under his control, thoughts are under his control, mind is under his control, he can choose his response. He doesn't react, he responds to the situation. This is the benefit of regular meditation. You can choose. There are times when you have to be silent. There are times when you have to use sweet words. There are times when you have to show anger. Anger is also good. Sometimes some work gets done only when you show anger. It is true. But the mistake we do is we become angry. What is the difference between becoming angry and showing anger? When we become angry, anger is controlling us. And when we show anger, we control the anger. We are not affected by the anger, it is just a show. Sometimes with children, we have to show anger. But even when you are shouting at your child, the question is, are you disturbed inside? Without getting disturbed, if you want to show anger, nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong. So this is called as mastery. Every situation must be under our control. And when our emotions are under control, we control the situation. When our mind is in our control, we control the situation. Because when the mind is in our control, thoughts are in our control. When thoughts are in our control, the words are in our control. What to speak, what not to speak, how much to speak, how to speak. You see, when the mind is in our control, so many things come in our control. this is called as being a master of the situation. People around you may behave different way, but what should be my behavior? If I have to master my behavior, I will have to master my thoughts. I will have to have my thoughts in my control. So who can have his thoughts under his control? Only a person who regularly meditates. So what happens is when you regularly meditate, even when you are dealing with the world outside, one part of your attention is paying attention to the outer world, another part is paying attention to the inner world of thoughts. In two places your attention is divided. One is the outer world, this inner world. And that is why Lord Shiva, if you see his eyes, it is half closed. Lord Shiva, when he sits for meditation, you see his eyes. It is not fully open, nor is it fully closed. It is half closed. Half closed means what? One part of the attention is inside, another part of the attention is outside. Both are needed. While dealing with the world, if your entire attention is entirely outside, you don't know what is happening inside. Then the emotions take overpower, and then you behave stupid way, and finally you say, "Oh, I shouldn't have spoken that way. I shouldn't have taken a decision this way." You regret. That is called as act in haste, repent in leisure. You act in haste afterwards, you say, "Oh, I shouldn't have done this." So regular meditation helps us in so many ways. Many times, the relationship which was spanning decades long, that relationship is broken because of my careless behavior, careless words, hurting words. Years together we were together, unknowingly, in that weak moment, I speak something, and that relationship is broken. All this happened because of carelessness, lack of being alert. So, this technique is called a technique of substitution. So, you go on meditating, find out what thoughts are creating that stress, which is that negative thought which is creating that stress, and then replace that negative thought with a positive thought. Positive thought means right thinking. See, really speaking, positive thinking and right thinking, there is a difference. What is the difference between positive thinking and right thinking? Positive thinking need not be always right. Right thinking is always positive. This is a difference. Many times, these positive thinkers, they are very much optimists. They say, "I can, I must." This is called as positive thinking. Many times, "I can't," but it's like God telling, "I can." You understand? So, in spirituality, we really don't talk about positive thinking. We always talk about right thinking. Right thinking is always positive. How it is, we will see later. Now, slowly we are going into the advanced spirituality. Till now we are in the basic school. So this is called the technique of substitution. Substituting wrong thinking with, for the time being, let us use the term positive thinking. Right. The next technique is what is called as the technique of devotion. Devotion. This is one more way of handling stress. Developing devotion to God. This we have been discussing a little. So what is the technique of devotion? Surrendering unto God. Having strong faith that there is a Lord who is taking care of the whole world, surrendering unto Him, saying, "O Lord, I am not able to handle this situation. Please help me out." Sincere prayer. It is a great stress buster. And it will definitely yield a result also. Because all the scriptures have promises. In all scriptures you will find Bhagavan saying, "Surrender to me, I will take care of your problems." You just test it, it will yield results. Miraculously, mysteriously you will find your problems just dwindling away. Either the problem disappears or you are empowered to face that problem. This strength comes from the Lord. So this is called the technique of devotion. Very useful. Employed by all religions in this world. Surrender to the Lord and He empowers you to handle the problem. Mysteriously you find some inner strength developing within you when your mind is in God. This happens. You gain some kind of inner strength to go through the challenges of life. The more and more the mind is in God, meditating on God, you feel that strength. The more and more you surrender your ego at the feet of the Lord, the more and more you find that inner guidance coming clearly. Intuitively you find that you are being guided. But remember, this guidance comes only when you surrender. This guidance comes only when the mind is peaceful. This guidance is experienced only when the mind is in its sattvic state. So this is a term used in all our scriptures. Mind has got three modes. What are the three modes of the mind? Tamasic, Rajasic and Sattvic. Tamasic mind is a dull mind. When we are very sleepy, no interest in anything, very dull, that state of mind is called a tamasic mind. The only thing we love to do in that mode is sleep. We don't want to do anything. We procrastinate. Not now, later. When you are lying down on the bed, you want to go on lying down. Though that lying down is not refreshing you, but you don't want to get it. That state of mind is called a tamasic mind. Somehow or the other we should come out of this mind. It's a very dangerous mode it is. Very dangerous. The second mode is called Rajasic. Rajasic means highly agitated, extroverted, disturbed. That agitated state of mind is called Rajasic mind. At that time, you can never ignore any temptation. You will yield to all temptations of life. In that state of mind, if you face the world, you had it. In that state of mind, you may blurt out something for which you will have to regret later. That is called a Rajasic mind. Disturbed, agitated state of mind. Very dangerous. So, tamasic mind and Rajasic mind, they are very dangerous. Now there is a third state, what is it called? Sattvic state. Sattvic means very peaceful. Peaceful state of mind. A mind which is quiet, undisturbed, alert, vigilant, focused. It is a joy to carry a sattvic mind. So these are the three modes: tamasic, rajasic and sattvic. So our effort must always be to remain in the sattvic state. All the spiritual practices are for this. When our mind is in the sattvic state, we are at our best. When our mind is in rajasic or tamasic state, we are at our worst. So whenever important decisions have to be taken in life, which mode should we take? Not when the mind is rajasic, not when the mind is tamasic, only when the mind is sattvic. Only when the mind is sattvic, we must take important decisions, not when it is rajasic or tamasic. And how to make the mind sattvic? Helps. All kinds of worship of the Lord helps. Entertaining noble emotions like compassion, forgiveness, humility, straightforwardness, they all go a long way in making the mind a sattvic mind. So the wise people, they pay a lot of importance to this. What kind of emotions am I entertaining throughout the day? Those emotions which you entertain again and again, slowly those emotions become your nature. If you are entertaining the emotion of anger again and again, you become an angry person. All the muscles, they align themselves that even in your normal state, you look very disturbed. You see. So therefore, it is very important that we always entertain noble emotions. For a person who is paying attention to these noble emotions, for such a person, most of the time, throughout the day, 80 to 90% of the time, the mind remains in sattvic state. In sattvic state, the possibility of you committing a mistake is absolutely less. You don't commit mistakes when your mind is sattvic. You commit mistakes when the mind is tamasic and rajasic. See, these are all the inner secrets of life. Unfortunately, these things are never taught in our schools and colleges. In schools and colleges, we are taught how to make a lot of money. Bread winning education, money making education. In fact, this is the education to be given. How to make the mind sattvic. Such a person beautifully handles all situations in life. Because the most important instrument in handling the outer worldly situations is our mind. Mind is the most important instrument. Suppose you are a woodcutter and you are given an axe and you are asked to cut the wood, what will you do? Directly will you go and chop the wood? No. The first thing is sharpening the axe, prepare the instrument and then apply the instrument. This is true in every field. A painter, first he makes the painting brush and all those, then he goes to paint. First prepare the instrument, then apply the instrument. Train the horse, then sit on the horse. What are we doing? Without preparing the instrument, we are applying our instruments of body, mind, intellect. And that's where all the trouble comes. We mess up our life. In most of our cases, life is a mess. And this rajasic mind, it says that, see, I am not the problem, that person is the problem. You will always find the mind which is in tamas or rajas, it will always blame somebody else. This is an indication that mind is not sattvic. I want to put my responsibility upon somebody else and to free myself from blame. The fact of life is, I alone am responsible for everything that is happening to me, that is happening around me. I alone am responsible. As you walk this path, you slowly start taking the responsibility upon your own shoulders. And then what happens? Then life transforms. Till then, We are busy blaming others, and when we start blaming others, we have nothing to do. That person has to change. I am okay. I am the right person in the wrong world. This is the way. In the essence of our life, we write the comment. I am the right person in the wrong world. But as you grow spiritually, as you start doing more and more meditation, as you start understanding life, you come to know the reverse is true. What is the reverse? I am the wrong person in the right world. All my problems are because of my own uncontrolled, indulgent, extroverted, impure mind. I alone am the cause of all my problems. So therefore, let me reform myself. This is what happens. So we were talking about the three modes of mind: tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. Now, when your mind is in sattvic mode, you are able to contact the Lord better. The mind which is peaceful is able to connect to the Lord better. And once we are able to make that connection, we are able to experience the devotion to Him, and we are able to handle all situations in our life holding on to Him by surrendering Him. So this technique is called a technique of devotion. Very, very useful. Technique of devotion. Take your problems to the Lord, surrender to Him, seek guidance, and whatever guidance you get according to live, you will have no problem in life at all. No stress will be there. Even when the whole situation is very uncertain, you will have no stress. Because you know that there is a Lord who is taking care of everything and who is taking care of me also. Once that comes, there is no stress. The best example is our Swami Vivekananda, who came to Chicago. So when Swamiji was coming to Chicago, he boarded the ship. He did not have any money with him. Somehow that fare, the ship ticket was booked. He did not have any money. He was seated in a corner. So one gentleman came. Swamiji, where are you going? May I know? Swamiji said, I am going to Chicago. What? You are going to Chicago? May I know why you are going? I am going to attend the World Parliament of Religions in Chicago. I represent Hindu religion. Swamiji, may I know where you are going to stay in Chicago? Swamiji said, maybe I will stay in your home. Maybe I will stay in your house. You see, just imagine the state. Coming to a totally different country of totally different culture. Doesn't know where. In fact, he did not even know when that date is also. World Parliament of Religion. The date also he did not know. Place he did not know. No contacts. Completely different culture. No money. But Swamiji was absolutely peaceful. Where did that peace come from? That peace came from this firm faith that there is somebody who is taking care of me. There is somebody who is in charge of everything that is happening in this world. I don't know anything what is going to happen in the future. Everything is uncertain. But this one thing I know, that there is somebody who is in charge. Just like the baby in the lap of mother. The happiest one in this world is the baby. And this is the greatest wonder. This baby has no money. This baby has no knowledge. This baby has no strength. Doesn't know anything. Absolutely helpless, powerless, knowledgeless. But this baby is the happiest being in this world. Isn't it a wonder? According to us, what is the source of happiness? Bank balance, power, influence. Isn't it? This side has nothing. And what gives peace? Remember that mother who is carrying this baby, she is full of stress. The baby in the lab is stress-free. What gives that peace? It is this knowledge. I don't know anything, but I have someone who knows everything. You see? I can't do anything, but I am with someone who can do everything. Later on, the child, when he grows up, it comes to know that he is our part. But at that time, this is the power of devotion. And that faith becomes very strong. You become totally stress-free. And again, when you see this, you have a problem, you take that problem to the Lord, and mysteriously that problem gets solved. You find a solution. You find an inner strength to face the problem. Again and again when this happens, what happens to the faith? Faith becomes strong. Your relationship becomes strong. Your love for God becomes strong. Your devotion for God becomes strong. You see? And slowly a time comes when a major challenge is staring at you and you are peaceful. You are peaceful. I don't know how to handle this problem, but I have somebody who knows how to handle this. This is the glory of devotion. The best way to handle stress is devotion to the Lord. Best way. He will take care of us. These are the time-tested principles. In all countries, in all religions, at all times. But suppose I don't believe in God, then you will be in trouble. Believe or not to believe, choice is yours. But you will not be able to escape stress. Because then you will be ruled by your ego. Either you are ruled by God or you are ruled by ego. If you are ruled by ego, you had it. There is only stress. The greater the ego, the greater the stress. God cannot be blamed for that stress, for that suffering. He is available for everyone. But one thing has to be kept in mind. He never forces himself into our life. This has to be understood. He is ever ready to help, but he will never force himself into our life. So the example given in the sunlight. Sunlight is ever ready to bless your room with light. But if you keep all the windows and doors closed, your room will remain dark. But then don't blame the sun. Oh sun, only my room is dark. You are giving light to the whole world. Sun is not to be blamed. Who is to be blamed? I am myself. Sun can come up to the wall and wait. But if it has to enter into our room, we have to open the windows and doors. I heard a very nice story. So there was painting, beautiful painting. And what is that painting? It's in the church. Let me tell my story of Jesus Christ. So the painting was Jesus Christ was knocking with a lantern in his hand, knocking a door. This is the painting. Thousands came to see the painting. they appreciated the beauty. One person went to the painter and said, "Sir, you made a mistake." "What is the mistake?" "Come here, I will show you." The mistake is, then he took the painter to the painting. He said, "See, Jesus is knocking the door. He has a lantern. But you forgot to paint the handle. Every door must have a handle. You forgot." So that painter said, "No, it's not a mistake. The handle is not outside, it is inside." Did you understand? What? The handle is not outside, it is inside. Means what? The person who is inside the room, the room, has to open the door. Not the person who is knocking. The person can, Jesus can bring light, he can knock also. But whether he is allowed inside or not has to be determined by the person who is suffering inside the room. God's nature is like that. He is ever available, but we have to invite him into our lives. He will not barge into our lives. That is why surrender is important. Prayer is important. Seeking his help is important. Again, as yesterday I am saying, if you want to develop this relationship more strong, what has to be done? We have to be obedient children of God. This is very important. You can't be a disobedient child and have a good relationship with God. No. Whatever he asks you to do, you have to do it. If you are living a life based on your likes and dislikes, just not paying attention to what is right, what is wrong, then the relationship cannot be developed. This we have discussed in detail yesterday. More and more we live in tune with the divine, obeying the divine, in discipline to the divine, relationship grows. And the more and more this relationship grows, lesser and lesser you will feel the stress. Greater the relationship, lesser the stress. Why? Greater the relationship, whatever belongs to him belongs to me also. He is powerful, he will give me power. He is knowledgeable, he will give me knowledge. He is resourceful, he will give all resources. He is an embodiment of all talents and abilities. Whatever is needed for me, he will empower me and make me succeed in fulfilling my duties and responsibilities. But for that, what is the condition? Relationship should be strong. But in order to make the relationship strong, what is the thing which I have to do? I have to sacrifice my likes and dislikes. I have to live according to his commands. This is the thing. What is the one thing which he loves? Righteousness, path of dharma, or the noble values of life. You will always find that whenever we entertain these noble values, heart is joyful. Whenever we cultivate vices, bad traits, negative traits, mind is distant. So that is the way he encourages us. Peaceful mind means, come on, very good. Go ahead. Disturbed mind means, I'm not happy with you. So this is the technique of devotion. Very, very useful. And slowly, as the mind becomes more pure, the relationship becomes more strong. Intuitively we come to know the great truth of this world. What is the truth? That God is the very self in me. It is the very I in me. I in its purest form is God. Consciousness in its purest form is God. So God is not separate from me. He is ever with me. As a very I Atma. Atma is a self. So this takes us to the next topic. So till now we have seen removal of stress through so many ways. Next is the technique of self-knowledge, and this is the ultimate way of handling stress. Because this technique completely destroys the ego. Once the ego is gone, all stress also is gone. Because stress is directly connected to the ego. Greater the ego, greater the stress. And if we can get out of the ego, there is no stress. This is the technique of self-knowledge. This is a topic which we will be seeing from now on. And it is a central teaching of Bhagavad Gita. It is a central teaching of the Upanishads. It is a central teaching of the entire Vedas. So this topic will be a little bit subtle. This topic I have kept it for the last. Okay, because so many doubts can come. So we have 12 minutes. So let me tell a story first. Very famous story. Very famous story in our tradition. And the story is Swami Vivekananda loved very much. He used to quote it often. What is this story? I am sure most of you know it. The story of that sheepish lion. So there was a shepherd who used to take his flock of sheep for grazing into a forest. Every day he used to take his sheep. One day, as he was taking the sheep, he saw a small baby lion. A lion cub, baby lion. Its mother had died and it was crying, unconsoled. So the shepherd took pity upon this baby lion, took that lion out, and started feeding this baby lion with milk. Because the mother is not poor child. So every day morning, along with this flock of sheep, this lion also, baby lion. Now who is the role model for this baby lion? The sheep, the grown up sheep. So you will find this in children. Whatever the elders do, it imitates. They are copycats. So now, this baby lion also started watching its elders. What are they doing? Eating grass. Oh, it also started munching upon grass. What are they doing? They bleat. That's the sound they make. Bleating. So this lion also learned how to bleat. Slowly, as the years passed by, this lion grew to become a huge lion with all sheepish qualities. So we will call this lion a sheepish lion. Though in the form it is like a lion, but it was behaving exactly like a sheep. One day, a wild lion entered the forest. A real lion. Wild lion. It gave a roar. And hearing this roar, all the sheep, they started running. This fellow also started running a sheepish lion. Now this wild lion got confused. Why is this lion running away from me? Sheep running away from me, I can understand. This other lion, in fact, he is bigger than me. Pampered. He went and got out of his sheepish. Hey, what happened? Now the sheepish lion was shivering. Don't eat me. Don't kill me. So this wild lion said, hey, you are also a lion like me. What are you doing? Instead of roaring, you are bleating. You are ashamed. You are lying about it. You say, no, I am not a lion, I am a sheep. You see, I am eating grass, what does it mean? I am a sheep. See, I am only able to breathe, I am not able to walk, what does it mean? I am a sheep. He was convinced that he is a sheep. The white man failed to convince the sheepish lion that it is not a sheep, it is a lion. Finally, this white lion got hold of him, took him near a pond. He said, now look at your face and look at my face. Don't you see a similarity? What do you see there? You are not seeing a sheep there. For the first time, the sheepish lion was made to think. It was made to do self-introspection. Till then, the sheepish lion was busy trying to know the world. Which grass is greener, where the grass is greener, etc. For the first time, he started thinking about himself. And then the white lion said, now enough of bleating, roar like me, don't bleat. So in the beginning, only bleating was done for so many years. Finally, it was able to roar like a lion, which recognized itself to be a lion, and then afterwards it roamed in the forest, stress-free, fearless. Now, will it have that stress again of being a sheep? Never. What did it do? It came to know itself as it is. This is called as self-knowledge. All the stress is because of self-ignorance. The moment it came to know itself, all the stress vanished. If you have understood this story, you have understood the entire essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The whole of Bhagavad Gita is only this. Know yourself as you are. All your stress is because you don't know who you are. So that will be tomorrow's topic. That is the main topic of Bhagavad Gita. And that is the best way of stress relieving us. Know yourself as you are. All problems in your life is because you don't know who you are. Wrong notions creating all problems. Develop right understanding. How to develop right understanding? We will see tomorrow. Right. Kalyana Sundara Rama Kalyana Sundara Rama Karunya Janaki Rama Pitambar